Hello, everyone. NTL Sports here. We're back. Not with an episode today. We got one of our specials here today. Like I said, I believe it was a Monday show. We got a Heatles episode or slash special. We're just gonna do this in one take. It's not gonna be too much. Not gonna take up too much of your time, y'all. So let's just get right into it. If you're a Heat fan out there, I would, this will mean a lot to you. Just kind of breaking down the off season. Some of the moves or lack of moves that this team has done, and just looking at the East as a whole, just where the Heat stand, and then the future, potentially where this guy, number 22, is going to go a year from now. All that stuff we'll get into in this little 10 to 15 minute little special, but let's just kick it off. No intro needed for this one. Let's take a look at the depth chart. Now, all these signings aren't official, so wow, this is weird. Like they don't even have yeah, this is not even this is probably more up to date. So they don't have an official depth chart, but basically all the kids that are signed right now, including some of the summer league kids. So this isn't the well, this isn't opening day roster. We still got 3 more months until that needs to be finalized. So wouldn't pay too much mind about this, but essentially, y'all, if you follow the news, you already know Miami all season for second year in a row has just been non-existent. This is pretty pathetic, even by it's some of the worst teams, off seasons. We look at even our hometown Wiz, like they've had a better off season, and they're tanking for Coop. I mean, they're joining the Cooper flag sweepstakes, and they had a better offseason than us. So when it just comes down to it, I mean, it's just devastating as a fan base. I know a lot of Heat fans can be a little erratic and a little too much, a little pushy, especially when it comes to certain players on our team. Cough cough hero, but um, I think it's warranted for the second season in a row, not making any significant moves. It definitely is deserving this year. I mean, if we really want to break it down, the only move was Alec Burks. Um, and other than you drafting, we drafted K Ware, you drafted Larson out of Arizona, and then you picked up Kashad Johnson, and then Poland. They're on your summer league team. They may or may not make the team, especially with the bringing back Hayward Highsmith, which I I agree because we don't have wings. As it stands right now, it's basically just Jimmy, Triple J, and Highsmith. So you needed a third wing because Larson's probably not going to play much, and K Love is a big, not really a wing. Um, and Duncan, we already know Duncan can't really guard people, so you need a third 3 and D guy. So I'm not mad at that, but I am mad at the Thomas Bryant signing. Didn't really make sense, especially when you draft K Ware, and you have K Love, and you have Bam. 3 centers is more than enough. You already play small anyway, so and you have Jovic. So Jovic plays. At times he can play five if needed. If you want to go like a really stretch five lineup, but man, it's tough. It's tough. It's tough. So I understand a lot of the frustrations out there, but um, it's all warranted. So yeah, Alec Burks was the only signing besides some of the some of the young guys that they drafted. Which I'm not mad at Alec Burks. He played well for the Knicks. Second half of the regular season, the postseason, he kind of laid an egg. He really didn't play too well. If you look back at those games, he really didn't play too well. Hopefully, he can refigure, reimagine himself in Miami. I'm imagining he's going to probably play decent minutes to begin with, and then maybe some of these young guys might steal his minutes. So we'll see, depending on how the rotations look. It's not a bad pickup, but it's, with Tyus Jones still out there, I would rather have a actual point guard in the building because as of right now, there's no actual point guard on the team. Um, disregard Patty Mills. He is a free agent. They haven't brought him back yet, so I mean, nor should they. He's just a little too old, honestly. They need a younger, not only floor spacer, but floor organizer, someone to get the actual offense going. And I get it, Tyus Jones is kind of small and he's not the best on defense, but I guess, in my opinion, you could probably cover him up. Um, in a lot of lineups if you have the rotation right. So I would like them to go for Tyus Jones. Maybe if they could have worked out a sign and trade, that would have been ideal. But who knows? He's still in the market. Who knows what team he goes to? Reportedly, he's not going back to the Wiz. So all the Wiz fans out there, the hometown Wiz team. Yeah, no more Tyus Jones. The 1 year experiment didn't work out. Probably should have traded him. Probably could have got a first round pick, but they kind of, I don't know what they were thinking. They kind of fumbled that one too, but they still got plenty of pieces they can trade. But this isn't the Wiz Pod episode or special. This is a Heat special, so let's get back to it. So Alec Burks, nice piece, but in terms of the rotation, it's too many guards. We got a logjam at two positions right now. Literally two/wing or even three. Like some of these guys can play the three. And then the bigs. We already talked about the bigs. When it comes down to the wing/twos, we got Hero, we got Rozier, we got Hami, we got Highsmith, we got Burks, we got Josh Richardson. I mean, the list goes on and on, guys. Duncan Robinson, like there's just a huge log jam. Jimmy, the log jam is crazy, and I don't know if the resources were best allocated to sign Alec Burks. I know you needed. It's always good to have spacing, and he can, I guess, technically play point guard, but let's go out and sign an actual, NBA player that plays point guard, right? That would have been the smart move. Seems like the Heat just panicked a lot this offseason because with the lack of cap space and I guess the 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 willingness to go out and make a trade for a big star because there were a few out there that were kind of dangling, but because of poor asset management, they couldn't really do it. So they're kind of just like in a jam where they really want to go out there and make a move, but they really can't. So they're like hoping someone will like drop into their lap, which is like we can't like as a front office, you just can't operate that way anymore. Old man Pat, we can't do this anymore. The NBA has turned into if you're not gaining assets, you're losing now at this point because free agency doesn't really matter anymore. Free agency right now, honestly, guys, is just to pick up your one or two players. To get your stars, you either gotta draft them or you gotta trade for them because a lot of teams aren't. I mean, let's look at it. The Clippers are probably the last team since I don't know. What would you say, Kevin Durant, or I guess if you want to count the Raptors losing Kawhi for nothing, even though he won them a chip, I guess you could count that. But I mean, before that, it was Kevin Durant basically leaving OKC for nothing. Um, that's the last time a team really has lost a big time player for nothing, other than Paul George. So I mean, that's a couple year span right there. So teams aren't really playing that game anymore. If you're not signing that supermax extension, bro, you're getting shipped out and players are dictating where they're getting shipped out for the most part. So, I mean, this is an asset game right now. I think, old man Patch is still operating the old way, and he just hasn't caught up with the times. And I think this has hurt the team. I mean, even look at the Jimmy thing. I mean, Jimmy signed and traded his way here. He didn't just fall into our lap. We needed help with that because didn't have the assets at the time. So, or we couldn't pull it off by ourselves. I think that was a four-team trade. That's how OKC has our pick for this upcoming year, even though it's protected, but still, it's from that Jimmy trade. So I think as a front office, we just got to operate different. We got to start thinking in this newer NBA where you're going to need picks and you're going to need not only big contracts, but you're also going to need a lot of young guys that are enticing other teams, not just guys that fit your system. Sometimes it's probably, you might just have to go draft the best available because maybe Team X, maybe the Magic or maybe the Pacers, they're looking at that guy too because he's the best available. And let's be honest, his Heat culture, the best available player will probably get better in Miami, even if it's not the perfect fit. I think that's how we have to operate going forward. Can't just keep. The old times are catching up with us, and I know two finals appearances in 5 years. Um, it's pretty good to say the least. Even though we didn't get the job done both times, but both finals appearances, we've seen clear weaknesses. Um, and both times has been lack of size and lack of scoring in both playoff deep runs. Even the run to the Eastern Conference Finals where we lost in Game 7, the same thing: lack of scoring, lack of size. I think we addressed the lack of size with K Ware. The lack of scoring, we still don't. We still don't officially have a solution to that issue. And I think going about it by committee is not going to work. That's part A of the problem. Part B of the problem is there still isn't a facilitator of the team. It's more of facilitation by committee. You got Bam facilitating, you got Jimmy facilitating, you're asking Hero and Rozier to do their fair share, and then on the bench you're asking Jaime Jaquez to do it instead of having an actual backup point guard. This is all playing into, the lack of consistent, consistently good offense. I'm not even gonna say consistent offense. Consistently good offense. Miami has been consistently in the bottom half of offense the past couple of years. And it's basically just relying on a 3-point shot, which we don't even shoot enough because some of the lineups don't even have enough spacing. So there's a lot of things in the way that Miami operates that's kind of hurting the team. Front office, we just kind of talked about. The lineups too. Coach Bo's a very stubborn dude, and you know, typically hasn't done well with bigs. I'm surprised Bam has really flourished as much as he has. Um, I think Bam needs to be definitively the second option. I think no more Bam of being the third option. Bam needs to be number two. Um, and honestly, Hero needs to be number one. We need to see Hero 1 year of Hero being the guy, the number one option. Jimmy just taking a back seat. Hey, you're betting against yourself, right, Jimmy? You're betting against yourself. You gonna opt out of your extension or your play option next at the end of the year, and you're gonna test the market, or hopefully you think you're gonna make an All NBA team so you can force that supermax extension. I got news for you, Jimmy. That's all good and well, but we haven't seen you play a lot of games in a while. So if you can play 70 games, great. But I think for his team to be where it needs to be, I think Hero needs to be the guy he needs to be the guy. He needs to be able to average 25 per game at the minimum. You can't, having three to four 20-point per game scores is nice. When we talk about Hero, Jimmy, Bam, and Rozier to a degree, it's nice. But if we look at the teams that are winning, they have two guys that can get you 25. Now, we know Jimmy can get you 25 in the playoffs. In the regular season, Jimmy isn't going to give you 25. Maybe this upcoming season he will, just to prove that he can, but typically that's not the case. Hero needs to be the guy that we can definitively count on and say, hey, Hero's going to give me 25 a night. I just got to find the rest of the points from somebody else. And, you're paying him like he's a young rising star, borderline all-star. He has to live up to the contract, and so far he hasn't. He's averaging the same. If we look back at it, he's averaging basically the same stats as if he was, in his six man when he won six man of the year. So I can't. He won it this year, right? 20.7. This past year, 20.8. I know he didn't play as many games, but still, you're starting now, bro. You gotta give us a little bit more. Yeah, you gotta do a little bit better. The facilitating went up a little bit just because, still the lack of a point guard, but We gotta do better than that, bro. I'm not one to say that Hero definitely needs to be gone, out of Miami. But if he doesn't show out this year, I think it's time to just, this experiment needs to end. Um, because at that point he's just basically a glorified six man. Because if he can't produce more than his six man of the year, stat line, why is he getting the contract that he's getting? So I say give him one more year. He needs to average 25. Bam can be the second guy that averages 25. Jimmy, just get through the season, bro. Play your 70 plus games, and just go out there and give us 20 and give us some good defense, and then just be healthy and in a rhythm. Come play all time, and I think that's pretty much all we need from Jimmy. And then we'll see what happens come extension time. Um, and I think we just gotta give up hope that this big whale is gonna fall in our lap. We don't have the assets, guys. It's just not gonna happen anytime soon, unless they're willing to really. Unless somehow we just end up being so terrible that it's actually, hey, we should sell everything to go after Cooper Flag, because the pick for this year is protected 1 through 14. So if it lands between 1 and 14, it's Miami's. If it's outside, it's OKC's. So if we're like 15 and 30 at the trade deadline, yeah, let's sell. But if it's close, of course they're gonna push to make the play in, because there's an incentive to just convey the pick this year, so that next year, I'm assuming it might be still a good draft. They'll have access to that pick, and it won't be. And next year's unprotected anyway if it doesn't convey this year. So I think that's what they're gonna aim for, regardless. But I don't foresee them really tanking anytime soon. But in order to get the assets that we need to go land a big fish, they would have to start some type of fire sale, starting with probably Hero, then probably Rozier, and then probably Duncan, because he has one more year left after this one. So, um, regardless, I think at the end of the upcoming season, there needs to be some type of renovation. We gotta be able to officially close this experiment and start fresh. It's just whether old man Pat believes in that, and honestly, if he's still gonna be in charge, because if we get the same results, or damn near close to the same results, I'm gonna be the first one calling for his job. Old man Pat might be cooked, but we'll see. This is a little bit over 15 minutes, a little bit more than I wanted to go, but good discussion. Basically, at the end of the day, Miami made no moves. Season outlook isn't looking too well, but I will say at best we're looking at a 5 seed at best. Um, at worst, we're gonna be playing, because some of these teams like the Hawks, the Bulls, even next, Hornets, Wizards, they're gonna be Pistons. They're gonna be way awful. So at worst, Miami's a 10th seed. At best, they'll be a 5th seed. We'll see how the rest of the offseason goes, and how the summer league goes, and if these kids can translate fast. But there's more to come for all that. So thank you guys for watching NTL Sports Podcast. Even though it's not a podcast episode, this is the Heat special, the Heato special. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.
Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of